Welcome to Soul Over It, the podcast where science meets spirituality. Get ready to explore the hidden truths of health optimization, wellness, spirituality, and empowerment. We are your hosts, Taylor and Abby Scarpello. Let's dive in.
On today's episode, class is in session with your hosts and dynamic sister duo, Taylor and Abby. We will be providing you with a little history lesson, taking you back in time to discuss the Western medical profession and bring conspiracy theories to light regarding modern-day medicine. Join in on the conversation this week.
All right. So, Taylor, I think we should take a little trip back in history.
Back in time.
We're going to... Let's go back to 400 BCE.
Oh. Yes. We're going back.
We're going way back. We're going back to...
our founding father.
Not that founding father.
He wasn't alive yet.
The founding father of medicine, who is...
Hippocrates.
Yes.
So Hippocrates is the founding father, and you definitely have heard of him, have heard of some of his favorite quotes, which are, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food."
The greatest medicine of all is teaching people how not to need it.
And last but not least, walking is a man's best medicine. So, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. Let's start with that one. So, this quote is really just saying that medicine is supposed to be used from the earth. The earth is here to help provide us with exactly what we need, whether it be to continue to optimize our health, or if we are feeling under the weather, seeking nutrients and, let's say, I don't want to put the word medicine from the earth, but think of herbs, different supplements, fruits, organic components grown within the earth. This is the food that will continue to help you heal, rather than looking to some sort of quote-unquote drug in a pill form. So really just reaping the benefits of the earth to help us and propel us into optimal health.
Exactly. And God created the earth for a reason. God created everything on the earth for a reason, to help us heal, to use the herbs, to use the fruits, to really nourish our bodies, even when we're not sick, just to help balance everything going on in the body.
Exactly. And I feel that God really works through people, where in this situation is using Hippocrates as the founding father of medicine to really help us and walk us through just getting back in tune with ourselves as humans, as the powerhouses that we are. And we have the ability to connect with the earth and everything around us to really become that best version of ourselves and optimize our health, our life, so that we can then help others do the same. And that's what Hippocrates was really all about, was just bringing all of these incredible tools to the forefront. And even with the greatest medicine of all time is really just teaching people how to use these tools so that you don't necessarily have to turn towards the other types of medication that has become so normalized.
Exactly. Just getting back to the basics. I think that's what it's all about.
Which is
the earth.
Food.
Yeah, food.
Water.
The sun.
Exactly.
Grounding. Putting your feet in grass, on the earth, or on sand at the beach.
And taking a walk, which again is something that Hippocrates is also stating, that this is the best form of medicine. Movement is something that is so, so, so important. It allows your body to start the detoxification process by draining the lymph, but also energizing you.
Exactly.
And boosting your dopamine, creating and starting the stomach to produce the neurotransmitters. Well, also, but as a society, we've also become so far from this ideology. And it's time that we really do get back to that.
This. Yeah.
And Hippocrates also stated that we have 4 humors. And these are your blood, your phlegm, black bile, and also yellow bile, which could sound a little gross.
But it's like, think like serums in the body, like your liver bile, and that, like those secretions.
Exactly. And so the health of humans is really defined as the balance of these four humors. So if there is an imbalance within the body, you will begin to see some or one of these humors be excreted out of the body.
Or just imbalance. Or when you, like blood, for instance, when you go and get your blood drawn in a blood test, there's maybe some imbalance there when you get the results back. And that will spark a concern, or just say, hey, there's something in the body there's a little something there that shouldn't be there.
Exactly. And if you were to open up old history books, and I'm talking ones that do recap all of Hippocrates' teachings, he does state that citrus fruit was one of the best agents to counteract these imbalances. Exactly. So citrus fruits do contain ascorbic acid. So now let's fast forward into today, where a lot of times if we are feeling under the weather, the number one thing that we do turn towards is vitamin C, which has high levels of ascorbic acid. Another one is also phosphorus and types of natural sugar. And these are all things that these are all nutrients that are contained in citric fruit. So that's another thing that Hippocrates is really saying, to go back to the basics. Use your lemons, your oranges, grapefruits, any type of citrus to help boost your vitamin C levels. So if we are taking or implementing these into our diet on a daily basis, we can continue to stay in balance. And now when we are a little under the weather or coming out of an imbalance, just implement a little bit more extra vitamin C or another type of herbal remedy, which will be great to continue to bring you back into balance.
Exactly.
So, fast forward, I guess we're jumping way ahead here.
We're going to jump to the early 1900s.
So, now think of a lot has happened in the Western medical profession. We have big food on the rise. Big pharma is already on the rise. And now a new association has been created, which is the American Heart Association, which many, many, many of you are familiar or have heard of it before. They do a lot with
heart disease and
cardiology. Just regulating the body and circulatory system. So, we're also going to talk a little bit of fashion. I know it doesn't really
seem like it goes, but
in this case,
it actually does.
It does. So, Procter & Gamble is a huge company. And believe it or not, they actually paid off the American Heart Association to promote seed oils, which, again, you most likely are familiar with seed oils right now. In 2024, it's on the trend.
On the trend to cut out seed oils, and we 100% agree. And if you aren't familiar with what seed oils are, think canola oil, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, safflower oil, even peanut oil isn't a good oil. So think those kinds of oil. Vegetable oils, those are your seed oils.
It's going to be your polyunsaturated fats.
Exactly.
So in the 1900s, the only cooking fats used by Americans were animal fats. So tallow, butter, ghee, lard, etc. So your basic everyday ingredients. So when Procter & Gamble wanted to get rid of excess seed oils, for example, cottonseed oil, which in the fashion industry was excess waste. So this really changed the way for humans and how they ate altogether.
And cottonseed oil in the fashion industry, it was only used as a machine lubricant, just to lubricate the machines, to maybe spin the wheel, just for machines. And then it was just waste. But now it changed.
And Procter and Gamble became very smart.
Oh, yes. Very, very smart.
They filed 2 patents for hydrogenation in 1908. Then in 1911, they announced this new product because they wanted to gather all this waste from the cottonseed oil and use it for something, which became
Crisco.
You all know exactly what I'm talking about. It comes in that yellow canister and big red letters, Crisco. Most of the time, if you are going to a relative's house, I would say they're maybe in their 60s, 70s, you will definitely see a box of Crisco in their pantry or cabinets. So since most of the lard and butter was being sent overseas to feed American soldiers during World War I, this was the perfect time for Crisco to feed the rest of Americans in the States. So Procter & Gamble saw an opportunity, and they did not hesitate at all.
Did not. So they released a cookbook called The Story of Crisco, and their sales skyrocketed more than 40 times in just 4 years.
So ironically, as years went by, heart disease kept rising, and because the number one cause of death, nearly the perfect correlation for the rise of seed oil consumption.
That is insane.
Again, they saw an opportunity to make money, and they jumped on the bandwagon. So then, a few years later, in 1948, it all got a lot worse. Procter & Gamble made a sizable donation to the American Heart Association for $1.7 million, which is equivalent to $20 million today. So they donated tons of money to the AHA in order to drive this marketing scheme
to promote Crisco is heart healthy, when today, now in 2024, we know it is not. It does not, it's not good for you. It is not heart healthy.
It's quite the opposite.
It is.
So this gave the American Heart Association new life, and by 1960, they had more than 300 chapters nationwide and brought in over $30 million annually. And in 1961, Ansel Keys, who had been adamant about demonizing animal fats for a better part of the 2 decades, he joined the AHA Nutrition Committee and shortly thereafter released their first set of guidelines instructing Americans to limit the foods we eat in and have eaten for millions of years and to replace these traditional fats with the newly invented vegetable oil like Crisco, corn oil, soybean oil, and all the other seed oils.
It's just crazy to think that they come out with this product convincing Americans that this is so healthy for you, this is going to improve your life, your lifespan, make you live longer.
It's going to lower your LDL levels, which is your one of the cholesterol. So we have 2 types of cholesterol. We have the HDL, which is your good cholesterol, and your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. So they had been saying and promoting that seed oils are good for us because they lower the LDL, while saturated fats from animals are to be feared and avoided.
Which is not true.
Not the case. Every single mainstream health outlet parrots this position, which has likely started by a shady donation to the AHA along with subsequent years of shady lies, inside jobs, donations to all profit off of Americans. And even today, many mainstream organizations which we receive our credible nutrition information is directly funded by big pharma or as well, and big food.
Exactly.
So really, they are scheming off of poor fellow Americans, and that's why it's so important to really take your health, one, seriously, and to be your own advocate, because we have 10 large companies that all own
Big food.
and now there's 3 large companies that all make up big pharma. So between the 10 companies and the 3 companies, you want to start to question. And by that I mean question the integrity of these companies. Do they have my health in their interest? Or am I just a dollar? Am I just another number that they could profit off of? So those are some questions I want to ponder.
Exactly. And instead of maybe trusting an ad, trusting a commercial, watch it. By all means, watch it. See what they have to say. But then do a little digging. Don't believe everything they say.
Or everything you hear.
Exactly. Just do your own research. And maybe you'll learn a little bit more.
Exactly.
And I think the decision should be up to you whether to
implement seed oils.
Exactly.
Or implement butter, tallow, ghee, getting back to the basics. And like Hippocrates had stated, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So I think that brings us to today's topic and what we are so over.
So this week, maybe not just this week, but we are so over being gaslit and lied to by the Western medical profession. There's been many instances, I'd say.
I would say for both of us.
Yeah. That we seek some answers or have some questions and they're completely dismissed.
Or we are dismissed. In appointments and doctors' offices.
And I know we are not the only ones who feel this way.
And that's why we're bringing it to light. But also sharing information and the tools, if you are in that situation, how you can become your own advocate, and also what to do in those types of situations where if you are, one, alone in a doctor's appointment, or if you do have another set of eyes in that appointment.
We've been through it many times, and we really just kind of had to take a step back and take matters into our own hands and do our little research, find other doctors that are a little more like-minded and really will sit with us, understand what's been going on, and maybe they've been through exactly what we're going through, so they understand and they have the answers.
So when was the first time that you felt this way or experienced being gaslit by whether it be a doctor or just the medical profession in general?
Well, honestly, I think growing up just multiple times, just going to doctors and, oh, I don't feel good, but they don't know why. Oh, just take this, you'll feel better, whatever. Well, I think my most recent and probably the one that really pissed me off the most was back in, I'd say February
of this
year. February 2024, where I was not feeling good. I was chronically fatigued, brain fog, couldn't concentrate, feeling very inflamed, super bloated. I looked not my best. My memory was pretty much, I don't want to say going, but I had memory loss. I couldn't remember things that Taylor told me the day before, or I would even have trouble remembering what I ate the day before. So I was not in a great place.
But on the outside, you looked like a normal 24-year-old.
Exactly. On the outside, I looked healthy. I looked great. However, on the inside, I did not feel good at all.
And also, I think society also plays a role into this as well, because we've normalized acne so much, where, oh, she has acne, it's not a big deal. Oh, she's a little bloated after meals, not a big deal. So by you even saying how you're feeling to doctors, it's become so normal that, every 24-year-old experiences acne and bloating.
That is not normal, let me tell you. Yes, it's normal to have acne when you are going through puberty, but that's normal.
16.
Yeah,
hormones are raging.
Exactly. However, it should clear up as you go into your 20s. So, I go to the doctor, and he is an infectious disease doctor. And I'm like, doctor, like, I don't feel good. I'm telling him what's been going on. And he asked me, so what are your symptoms? And before I even started my symptoms, I kind of wanted to take him on, like, my little story. And I was like, well, back in the fall, I was really stressed. I went through a few life changes. And he goes, that's not a symptom. And that immediately turned me off. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I wanted you to know what kind of triggered all this. So then I continue with the appointment, and he's asking me questions, and he's kind of, I guess, feeling around my body to see if certain organs are inflamed or distended, and he didn't find anything, and he continues on. He weighs me. He does all this stuff, and I'm like, doctor, I don't feel good. Could it be Epstein-Barr? Because Taylor went through Epstein-Barr, and you diagnosed her with this.
We'll also get into that journey as well, because I have a similar story.
And I said, no, it's not Epstein-Barr. So he draws 6 vials of blood from me because he wants to test for so many different things. But he's like, I really just don't think anything is gonna come back positive. I really think you're just a healthy 24-year-old.
Just going through a lot.
Yeah, just going through a lot. Oh, really, doctor? So can you explain my chronic fatigue, my brain fog, my memory loss, my bloating, my insane acne? Doctor, can you
mood
please...
swings.
My mood swings. Oh my god, my mood swings. Doctor, can you please find an answer for me? He just looks at me, he goes, you just look like a healthy individual. Healthy 24-year-old just going through a lot. So I said, thank you, doctor, and I left. And lo and behold, my blood test that he drew 6 vials for, it came back, nothing was flagged, nothing was abnormal. So again, he thinks I am perfectly healthy.
Exactly.
And I never went back to him because I didn't feel heard, I didn't feel seen, I was mad.
And I was in that doctor's appointment with you, along with her mom. And now this is also a doctor that I had a very similar experience with back in 2018. And he dismissed me as well. At the time, so back in 2018, I was also going through different types of stressors that I never experienced before. And at the time, I was also getting ready for my national shows for bodybuilding, for my bikini shows. So excited. It's finally going to hit the national stage. I spent close to $600 on a brand new suit, had my hair, makeup, show paid for, everything paid for. And I think this was back in, I want to say around May of 2018. And I just couldn't get through my preps. My weight started increasing when I'm in a caloric deficit. Wasn't feeling good, couldn't get through my workouts, couldn't get up for class. So at the time, I was also in college. I was back in Ohio. And I'm like, oh, it's just a lack of motivation. The semester's almost over. Well, that wasn't the case. Once I came home, my body just started to crash. And every week thereafter, new symptoms started to arise. And at first, they thought it was a thyroid adrenal issue. So I was put on a bunch of supplements by our dads. Again, we were taking everything with a holistic approach. And then I got diagnosed with Lyme's disease. So all summer long, as I'm home, I'm being treated for Lyme's disease. However, I had all of the mono symptoms, so mononucleosis, when you have enlarged glands in your throat. My spleen was popping, I kid you not, popping right out of my abdomen. Inflamed. Extremely enlarged. My liver as well.
You had the fevers, you had the fatigue, all the mono symptoms.
I had rashes all over my body and my neck. My acne was for sure at its worst. And as the summer went on, again, we thought it was Lyme's disease because I did get blood work and I did test positive for one strain of Lyme's. And back in second grade, I also had Lyme's. I did the full round of antibiotics and fine ever since. And then, so now fast forward to August of 2018, same summer, and I was supposed to be going back to school to finish my senior year at Ohio State, and I just didn't feel comfortable going back to school. One, with how I looked, I put on 40 pounds, and I'm a very petite.
Yeah, very slim, very petite, and you just didn't look like yourself.
I didn't look like myself. I didn't feel like myself. My skin was so inflamed. Every week I would go shopping to buy new clothes. When I would go to put them on, they wouldn't fit. So I wasn't only battling the physical symptoms, but throw in the emotional.
Exactly.
And that's something that is so much more challenging.
It is so much more challenging.
When you are going through any type of chronic illness, any type of loss, or even just something that is going to shake up your foundation.
Definitely.
So 2 weeks before, I was recommended to go see an infectious disease doctor. And I showed up to his office. He's looking at me. And again, he's telling me that I looked healthy, but he never saw me at my normal weight, my normal everyday image when I wasn't in a chronically ill state. So to him, I looked normal. I was 22, I believe.
Yeah, just before your 22nd
Maybe it was
birthday.
just before. Yes, that's right. It was just before my 22nd birthday. And so again, I had acne. It was at its worst. But to him, it's normal. Oh, you're in your early 20s. It's not a big deal. I was experiencing the bloating as well. And then, so he did run blood work. And as he's going through all of my previous labs, he's continuously telling me that I don't have Lyme's disease. I'm like, what do you mean I don't have Lyme's disease? I had Lyme's when I was in second grade. And I've been treating Lyme's all summer. He's like, no, you don't have Lyme's. It's Epstein-Barr. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What even is
Epstein-Barr? And so he proceeds to just fill me in a little bit on what Epstein-Barr virus is. So it is an autoimmune disease, and it's part of the herpes family. So there's many different ways to contact EBV. If you are someone that has had mono in the past, mono, I want you to think, is like the child to Epstein-Barr, and Epstein-Barr is the mother. So one of the symptoms of EBV is mononucleosis. So you always want to take it one step further and not only treat mono. So this is something that I did learn throughout my EBV journey. But you can also have EBV without ever contacting or contracting mono. So he proceeds to tell me that I have EBV. However, there's no cure. And I looked at him and I said, what do you mean there's no cure? And he's like, well, all you have to do is just rest and hope for the best that the virus never flares up again. And I'm like,
hope for the best?
What do you mean hope for the best? And two, you're telling me I can never work out again. He said, yes. You'll never be able to live the exact same lifestyle that you once lived. All you can do is walk, manage your stress, so that the virus doesn't flare up. And I completely lost my
mind.
I lost myself in that appointment. I cried so much because how do you tell someone that is so active that they'll never be able to step foot in the gym ever again? So that just lit something in me. So I will say, yes, he is right, because I never lived the exact same lifestyle that I once previous had.
It's true.
Because I did adapt a new lifestyle, which allowed me to truly optimize my health. So I will thank him for that, because he did lit a new fire under me, And now I'm able to...
You're now a better version of yourself, healthier version of yourself, and living the best life you could ever imagine. And
Exactly. And I have gathered so many different tools over the last few years, as well as education on what the hell EBV is, and now we're able to bring it to the forefront. So I have been told that, there's no cure, but let me tell you, there is a cure and more.
So this is your sign to just never take no as an answer. And
be your own advocate.
I even, a month later after seeing that same doctor, maybe not even a month, 2 weeks after, I saw another doctor because I was experiencing some more symptoms. I had this terrible sore throat, a burning sensation throughout my whole body. It was the weirdest thing. I actually went to the little urgent care in our town just because we wanted to know what's going on. Is it mono? So I went to the urgent care and I got tested for mono, but they also wanted to run the flu test, the COVID test, because it was in the winter. So and then a strep test. So all those came back negative. Thankfully, they did. Thank God. However, when I saw the doctor that was part of the center, he had no idea. He was baffled as to what I'm telling him. He was looking at my blood work, and he's like, I don't know, this is crazy. He couldn't understand the brain fog.
Your white blood cell count was normal. Yeah. It wasn't elevated. Mm-hmm. So usually when you are in a state of imbalance or disease, not feeling well, even just the slightest cold, your white blood count will be elevated because your body is sending the signal to produce more white blood cells to go after the infection or the bacteria.
Exactly. So my blood work looked almost normal, I'd say. A few things here and there were a little elevated, but nothing to raise too much concern. So this doctor was looking at that, and he's like, it looks okay, but I was telling him how I felt, and he couldn't really understand the chronic fatigue, the brain fog. So what he told me to do was, maybe I just need creatine in the morning. Just add a little scoop of creatine in your water in the morning and go on with your day. I said, excuse me?
How is that going to help?
Exactly. How is that going to help? I didn't follow his recommendation because I didn't feel that it aligned with me. And I continued to do my own research, talk to Taylor, talk to our dad, who's a chiropractor, to just kind of get some more information. So, creatine, what people think it does, it just makes you bulk up at the gym. However, what it really does is it maintains your muscle, it supports your bone density, it extends longevity, it accelerates recovery, it supposedly boosts energy and endurance, it promotes a positive mood, it enhances brain health and memory, and it optimizes metabolism. So, based on what creatine does for you, yes, I probably could have needed it. However, it wasn't
ideal.
Exactly. It wasn't ideal. I wasn't working out. I no longer could work out. Prior to my symptoms, I was working out 6 days a week. I was in the gym, very active. I'm also a ballroom dancer. I was ballroom dancing at least once a week. So I lived a very active life, but because of all these symptoms, I no longer could work out. If I went on a walk, I would become even more tired. Or even if I did a yoga class or a bar class, a bodyweight workout, I was even more fatigued. So, okay, creatine, maybe could have helped. However,
you're still not getting to the root cause of what's causing all of these symptoms and ailments.
Exactly. So there was, yeah, maybe surface level, but I needed an answer. I needed something deeper.
So when you were going to these doctor's appointments, did you feel that these doctors lacked compassion?
For sure. Especially the infectious disease doctor. The doctor in the urgent care, he was very nice, and he was listening to me, and he really seemed like he wanted to help. He just didn't have an answer. So I feel like he was a little bit more compassionate than the infectious disease doctor, because I was really telling him what I was going through and how much mental and emotional strain this was having on me, and he didn't really take it into account.
So now, fast forward. So Abby and I, since both of us are energy healers, we do work on each other. And then when either of us can't really hit that next level, that's when we'll seek external help from our mentors, the healers that we go to, just for extra advice and help.
See if they can pick up on something that we can't,
that we're missing, because it can be a little challenging working with either with each other or family. So we had been doing theta healing sessions weekly.
Yeah.
And just to, again, get to the bottom of what Abby was going through, as well as just healing the emotional trauma from the doctors, along with the different life events that you experience.
Exactly.
So we were just trying to clear as much as we could. So can I share about the one session? Yeah. So we were doing a session, and I was scanning her body. So in theta healing, we always start out with an intuitive body scan, and you're able to communicate and see what's going on within the body, as well as speak to the organs, the tissues, cells, DNA, and whatnot. So I'm in her stomach. It sounds so weird, but I'm intuitively in her stomach and in her gut. And I can see that her stomach isn't producing hydrochloric acid. So there's a low production of HCl. And then I can see all these fat molecules that her body isn't breaking down fat. So I'm telling her as I'm seeing all of this, and I'm also seeing the gut and brain axis that is not being properly...
It's properly connected.
Yes, it's not connecting properly. The signals. It's hitting from the gut to or at the time it was only hitting from the gut to the heart, and it wasn't making its way up to the brain. So again, that means that the neurotransmitters that the gut produces, her gut was not producing the neurotransmitters optimally. So once we did continue with the healing, we found the root cause and how she contracted the bacteria that I was also seeing within her gut. And I was seeing the bacteria all within her gut and then your intestine, or the small intestine. And I could see the name of it, but I couldn't quite make out the full name of it. And it was this funky name with a letter P, and it was very long. So after that, once we came back to the normal reality, we're looking and Googling all the different types of bacteria in your gut. And let me tell you, there's
so many.
So many. And we're trying to find it. And I'm like, ooh, I think it's this one. And lo and behold, Abby the next day ended up...
I was looking at Gary Brecka's podcast
on how to heal the gut.
Yeah, and I was just on his YouTube, and I was looking at one to watch.
And I also was saying to start implementing apple cider vinegar to help produce more stomach acid.
Yes. And I come across, it was a pretty recent episode of Gary Brecka's podcast where he had Dr. Joffrey on, and the title was something about low stomach acid and the gut, and I'm like, I need to watch this. So I'm watching this podcast, and I literally I sat down and watched the entire thing in one sitting because I was so fascinated. And everything that Dr. Joffrey was saying was exactly what I was going through. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what I'm going through. Like, I need him to help me. I need answers. I need something. Whatever he did to help him heal, I need exactly that. So I tell Taylor about this podcast. She listens to it. I tell my parents. They listen to it, and they're amazed because everything that I've been telling them is exactly what Dr. Joffrey is saying. So I do some research and I find Dr. Joffrey, and he has a program where you can run labs and you can get a call with him to go over the labs. So after some talking it over with my parents, we decide to go ahead with it. And this, I want to say this was in maybe May.
So it was before we went overseas.
Exactly. So this was in May, and again, I've been experiencing all these symptoms for months and months with no answers, trying to treat different things, taking different supplements, nothing working. So in May, I find Dr. Joffrey, and I sign up for the program. I get the test kits. I do all the things, and
what types of tests were they?
One is a GI map test, which is a stool test, and the other one is a food sensitivity test through blood.
Okay.
So I do those two, and then also at the time, Taylor ordered me, because she is an integrated health practitioner, she ordered me a adrenal hormone test, and then a mold test through urine.
And then we also ran an organic acid test,
yes,
which checks your full gut health as well.
Exactly.
So it just picks up different biomarkers than the stool test.
Yes. So a total of 5 functional medicine labs I did almost in the same day. So I send all of them out, and we go on a family vacation. I come back, and I get an email that my lab results are back, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. So then I had to schedule the appointment with Dr. Joffrey, and I did, and the appointment wasn't until the middle of July. And it was a 45-minute call, which actually ended up being turned into like an hour and a half call, because I have never felt more heard, more seen, more understood, more motivated than ever before talking to Dr. Joffrey. He is amazing. Everything that I told him I was going through, he understood it. He's like, I know exactly what we need to do to help you heal. I've worked with many, many, many patients who went through exactly what you're going through. I personally went through exactly what you're going through. So everything I was saying, he's like, I know what to do, and I've been through it. So I was so excited to just be on this new journey. And going back to that bacteria that Taylor was saying, I get the stool test results back, which is almost like a giant list of different names of bacteria that are living in your gut. And they have all these crazy names, all these long names.
Full scientific names that you have no idea how to pronounce.
It's so funny, but this test is amazing because it'll show you the level and which ones are elevated, which ones are low. And the one that was high was the Streptococcus bacteria.
So think strep throat.
Exactly.
When maybe you're younger, you go to the doctor and they stick that long thing down your throat and they do a little swab. They're like, oh, we'll be back in like 2 seconds. They come back and you're like, oh, it's strep throat. So you can have the strep bacteria within you. It'll test positive, but you will not necessarily have the symptoms.
Exactly. So this certain bacteria is related to the gut-brain whole axis, where in high levels it can cause brain fog. It can cause issues with memory and That's exactly what I've been going through. And also the other symptoms. So this could have possibly been the bacteria that Taylor saw in my gut.
And that's what really led you to discovering Dr. Joffrey. So if you're also going through the exact same thing that either one of us has had experience, you are, like we were saying earlier, you are never alone. And that's why we're so over just being gaslit by doctors, by the Western medical profession, because you can heal no matter what you are going through. Healing is possible. And we do have a few steps that you can do so that you can implement this change. What you can do if you were told there is no cure for your ailment is to begin to take matters into your own hands and really just do your own research. And once you do so, you'll begin to come across doctors, practitioners, even holistic modalities, different therapies that will help bring the body into a state of healing and balance.
That's exactly what Taylor and I did. We got no for an answer. We didn't want to take no for an answer. Mm-hmm. And we did a bunch of research. And through the research, we came across doctors. I came across Dr. Joffrey through Gary Brecka. Mm-hmm. And now I'm on my healing journey.
Exactly. And previously, when I was going through my EBV journey, at the time, I was working with a functional medicine practitioner who put me on a bunch of herbal remedies. And that's what really helped me. However, today she's no longer in practice. But once I was able to heal, I now implement those herbal remedies with my clients. So if they are going through EBV, I know exactly what to do. I know the blood work we're able to run. Because again, when you are wanting to get tested for EBV, it is very difficult to get tested because doctors don't necessarily know what Epstein-Barr virus is, nor do they know how to treat it. But if you give them the right codes to run, and I always tell my clients, be persistent, ask them to run these specific codes for the EBV panel. And they'll always question you and say, why? You don't have Epstein-Barr. But you as a patient, you have the right to request any information. So if a doctor is saying no, again, maybe you're not with the right practitioner, the right doctor, but again, have the right to know exactly what is going on with your body, especially if you are paying for the blood work, whether it be out of pocket or if your insurance does cover. Again, you have the right to know what is going on within your body.
Exactly. At the end of the day, this is your body, this is your life. You have the right to know what is going on. Just continue to ask questions. If you need to, seek a second opinion. Don't be afraid to speak up. Please don't be afraid. You have the right. And then just continue to Google, research, or maybe just look for holistic alternatives if you feel that it aligns with you.
And some of our favorite holistic alternatives are homeopathy, chiropractic, taking vitamins, supplements, having a good morning and nighttime routine that really just wards off illness. Sound healing is something that we absolutely love. Anything to help reduce stress, having a well-rounded, balanced diet, making sure that you're also drinking filtered water, as well as getting your minerals in. No seed oils, and yes, we mean no Crisco. I apologize. I'm here to not break any hearts, but also get out in the sun. The sun is one of the number one free tools that you have access to help boost your serotonin, boost your dopamine, regulate the body. It's natural vitamin D. And another free tool is exercise. Move your body, go for walks. And detox therapies such as sauna, anything to do to sweat, different detox masks. Those are also another great holistic alternative. But we'll take this back to our founding father of medicine, Hippocrates, and allow yourself to use food as medicine. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So go get herbs, go get fresh fruits, veggies, different remedies that will help promote healing and balance into the body. And if you are doing so, I hope you're going to a local farmer's market and walking. Again, that's another one of the best free tools that is easy. And by all means, I hope it is accessible for you. So I think that is a wrap for today's episode. And we hope you enjoyed. And just know that never take no for an answer, because there is always more truth to seek.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Soul Over It. We are your hosts, Taylor and Abby Scarpello. Join us weekly every Thursday for a dose of inspiration, empowerment, biohacking tips, and some exercise for the soul right here on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.